So who owns your photos and what does it mean to have copyright? I'll go over all of it on today's episode of
Ask David Bergman.
Hey everybody, welcome back. As always, I'm here answering your photo questions. Don't forget to go to askdavidbergman.com. Submit your own questions there. I'll pick the best ones to answer on a future show. Today I've got one from Fernando Q, and he asked, who owns your photos? The subject who paid or the photographer who snapped the picture? Ooh, copyright. This is such a great topic. I love talking photo business. So look, when people ask me what photo classes they should take, first, of course, you should attend my photo workshop, my Shoot from the Pit workshop. You get to shoot a live concert with me. It's really a whole lot of fun. But selfishly, after I say that, I say the next best thing to do is to take business classes. Look, knowing how to run a business is the difference between being a great photographer and then actually being a great photographer who can make a living. Copyright is a form of protection provided by the laws of the United States to authors of all, quote, original works of authorship. The Copyright Act of 1976 formed the basis of modern copyright law. That's a long time that this has been in place. Now look, I'm not a lawyer. You have to check with an IP lawyer for any legal issues. I don't even play one on TV. Don't take this as legal advice. I'm just talking from my personal experience over 30 years as a working pro. So take it or leave it. Now look, copyright can apply to lots of creative works, not just photography, music, art, and books, a whole bunch of other things. You can't copyright an idea like a lighting setup. It really only applies when you turn the work into a tangible object like film or digital media or a print or something like that. What copyright does, it gives you control of how the work can be used and allows you to profit from that work. Now, physical possession is irrelevant, whether it's a digital file, a negative, or the print. You can have the copyright even if there are thousands of copies, although of course it's much harder to police your copyright if that's the case. But the copyright holder, regardless of who has physical possession of the image, can decide what they want to do with the image. They may never want it shown at all, or they can license it for specific uses to specific people or entities. This is how many photographers, including myself, actually make a living. Now, I might sell physical things like coffee table books and prints, but I also license the use of my work for specific usage. Things like press, PR, advertising, etc. I can choose who, how, and when I want to issue those licenses. Now be aware there are other legal issues that affect how you can use and license your images, even if you have copyright. There are things like property and model releases, and some of these things you should discuss with an IP lawyer for sure if it's a part of your business. But to answer Fernando's question, by default, in the United States, I have to stress that this is just in the United States. Laws change from country to country, and you have to research them in your own country. But by default, in the US, the creator of the work is the copyright holder automatically. It doesn't matter who owns the gear or if somebody else set up the lights and put the camera on a tripod. Whoever pushed the button is the creator of the work. Even if you hand your camera to a nice person to take a shot of your family on vacation, that person will own the copyright to that image. Now look, before March 1st, 1989, you had to put the symbol, the copyright symbol, on your work in a specific format to actually get copyright protection under the law. So now after 1989, that's optional. You might want it on there as a watermark just so people know who took the picture and reminding them that it's copyrighted, but every image taken in the US is automatically and immediately protected by copyright as soon as it's exposed to film or captured by the digital sensor. Now the term of copyright, or how long copyright lasts, varies depending on a few factors, but in general, it's the life of the author plus 70 years. Now, you can go ahead and register your copyright with the U.S. Copyright Office if you want. That's part of the Library of Congress. However, registration is not required. You still own the copyright. However, having said that, if you plan on filing a copyright infringement case against a person or a company that you believe used your work illegally, then the images need to be registered because it goes a long way in proving that you created the image and when you did it. Now, you can register after the infringement, but it's best to do it before the images were ever shown anywhere, before they were published, or within 3 months of first publication. You get a lot more protections if it's registered then, and honestly, I doubt a lawyer would even take the case if it's not, because it limits you to winning only actual damages, which are difficult to prove and are likely just what the usage would have been in the first place. So if it's registered on time and can be proven that it was a willful infringement, penalties can be up to, listen to this, $150,000 per infringement. That's a big stick that you wield when dealing with these cases. Now again, I'm not a lawyer and you should hire a good one for cases like this, but it's safe to say that registering on time is better than not. Now the registration process itself has changed over the years. I used to physically burn CDs and DVDs of low-res images and mail them in with the form. Nowadays it's all electronic and basically amounts to you uploading your images and paying a fee. There are some limits as to how many you can register at one time, but I'm going to put a link below to the official registration page with the Copyright Office so you can look up all that information and do it for your own work. Now, when does the person who pushed the button not own their copyright? Well, there are two really ways that could happen. One, in general, if you're a full-time employee, based on the IRS definition of what a full-time employee is, then the employer owns the copyright. Basically, you're sort of a cog in the machine that created the work, and therefore your employer has the right to profit from those images. Now, you could also, after the fact, you could transfer your copyright to a client or to anybody via a copyright transfer. If you sign something that says, quote, work made for hire, then that is a copyright transfer. Those words are very important and have a very strict legal definition. If you do that, you have no right to the work. Someone else owns it, they can control it, profit from it, and they don't even need to credit you. It's not yours anymore in any way. If you do this, they should be paying you a lot of money to make up for that loss of control and income. If you're somebody who wants to publish images, before you publish somebody else's image, and this means resharing it online or using it in publication, you need to be real careful because you don't want to wind up costing your business hundreds of thousands of dollars simply because you didn't go through proper channels to obtain a license. Look, as a creator of artistic works, at the end of the day, it is about control. It's about we have the ability to profit from our work, and that allows us to create more work because we can make a living doing it. So understanding copyright and keeping control of your work and learning how to license it properly, and as a user, making sure you use images properly without infringing on somebody else's copyright is hugely important. These are protections that have been in place for a very long time, and they're somewhat sacred. So don't mess it up. Let's keep copyright going. I'm a big fan, and controlling it is how you're going to make a living in this business. Thanks for asking that question. I really appreciate it. Again, if you have your own photo question, go to AskDavidBergman.com, submit the form on there, and I will pick the best ones to answer. Also, you're already here watching Adorama videos. There's so many great Adorama TV hosts on here with lots of photo content. Make sure you subscribe and you watch all of the other things below. And I mentioned it before, selfishly, I have a Shoot from the Pit photo workshop. We shoot a live concert together. It's really a great time. Only 5 people per show. Go to shootfromthepit.com. You can check that out. And hopefully I'll see you out at a show with me soon. Thanks so much for joining me. I'll see you back here next week on Ask David Bergman.